Hey guys, and welcome to Dominions 5, Wars of the Faith, with me, Time and Tactics. This is the latest version of Dominions, 4 being the previous one, obviously. I'm playing version 509, and this is my very first time playing through Dominions 5. Well, the whole way through anyway. I've been playing offline here, but I'm pretty much new to the game, so any hints or tips, please let me know down below. So, the game... You know, I played a little bit here, and the game is pretty darn good. I recommend it already. And I'm sure you may not already know this, but the game has a lot of variety in the game. Depending on what you pick and how you set up your strategy, the game's going to play out, I think, quite differently. So, I've been playing a certain setup. I'm going to show you what I have in mind here for this Let's Play. By the way, this is the first episode. Well, episode 0 will be like a setup episode. I'll go through kind of my setup, and then in episode 1 we'll actually start the game. So if you're impatient or if you want to get right into the action, jump into that episode. But anyway, if not, let's take a look and see what I have in mind here. Let's go to create world. Let me actually go to preferences. It is a little bit loud, maybe. Music 3. I got the 2. Let's do 2. Alright, create world. So this is a turn-based game, if you don't know, and there's a lot of variety, like I said. We're going to pick here, first of all, what kind of map we're going to have. So it's a fantasy kind of game with, well, we'll go into the details about that a little bit later, but we got to pick a map. And there's a couple of maps here that are pre-generated, but I'm going to go for a random map. And we're going to specify that to be a small map. This is my first time. Well, let's keep it to small for now. Few water provinces. Yeah, you can play water. There are nations. You play a nation in the game. There are nations that are water-based, but I think I want to focus on land for this one. We might still get into the water, so to speak, but we're not going to have to deal with exclusively water nations in this game. So, a few water provinces. Let's go with that. Enable rivers, caves. Yeah, east-west wraparound, north-to-south wraparound. No, meaning the world will actually have it. Edge. So we'll be able to find a corner of the map. Maybe we can defend more easily. We'll see. That's good. Let's go to the next. Okay, game name. We're gonna call it. Can I call it Dominions YouTube 1? Can't do up. Wait, there. YouTube 1. It's my first game with Dominions. Hopefully, I will play more than more than one. Okay, then we can pick the era, and the eras, they matter. They will provide different nations to choose from. Early ages, you have more magic. Later ages, you have less magic. I'm going to go for middle ages, because there's a certain nation I have in mind for this playthrough. Okay, so here we are. So we picked the map, we picked the era, and now we choose the participants. I'm going to keep it to 2. It's a small map. That gives me time to build up a little bit, I think, as well. We're going to make our opponent, he's going to be random. Normal AI, standard, but he's going to be a random land nation. And then for myself, here are all the Middle Ages nations you can play, and they're very different from each other. So I'm going to pick this one, Marignon, Fiery Justice, a human kingdom based on religious zeal. Holy knights and inquisitors ride out to purge the world of enemy faiths. Marignon has powerful fire and astral mages and powerful priests. Yeah, sounds pretty good. Let's go with them. Alright, that looks good to me. We can add a lot more players if we want to, and they can all be different, but we'll go with this for now. And here we have the information about Marignon. Let's take a look at them. It's a feudal theocracy. The Inquisition controls all aspects of the country, including warfare. The feudal lords pay tithes and tax to peasants, but all political decisions are made solely by the church. Marignon rose out of the ashes of Urmor. So Urmor was another nation from the early ages, or in the Middle Ages now. More like, I guess, the Roman Empire, similar to that, and has succeeded in holding the shadow of the fallen empire at bay through religious zeal and austerity. The widespread fanaticism in Marignon has done wonders for its survival thus far. The heavy infantry of Marignon is armed with large weapons such as great swords and halberds. All units carry the bright red and orange, you can see that up here, livery of Marignon. The Inquisitors of Marignon are trained in the House of Fire Justice together with witch hunters. The witch hunters are mage priests who use astral magic. Yeah, okay. So we're playing as humans. There are many races in the game, but we are all humans here, and our units are down here, by the way. We have heavy infantry, crossbows, and knights. Magic, we use fire, astral, some air, and earth. We have to look at that here. Priests are powerful, and we have inquisitors. Bless bonuses, fire bless points +2. Astral bless points +2. And for the buildings, we have standard forts. Architects can build better forts. Okay, what does that all mean? Well, let's take a look and see what I've figured out anyway. So we have these units here. The units are below. The commanders are on top. Commanders are basically the ones that organize the units, and those are the ones, the commanders, those are the ones you control in the game. You give them orders and they move from province to province, fighting battles and eventually, defeating the enemy. But to do that, we need units, and those are the ones below. So I think we should take a look at them. When it comes to the other stuff here, the magic, we'll talk about that as we get into the different commanders. So what do we have as far as commanders? Well, they're humans, we know that, and we have mages and priests, it said. Remember that it's a feudal theocracy. It's all about the church. So we're going to find a lot of that here. But to start off with, they go from left to right. Tends to go from left to right in order of strength, depending on what type it is. But here's a scout that we can get. A scout is someone who can send out, they can find out by information about the world. And in this case, in this scout, you can see here, he's stealthy, 50. So that number, if you right-click, stealthy troops can pass undetected through enemy territory. The value is an estimate of the number of patrollers required to have a 50% chance of discovering the stealthy unit. So if you have 50 patrollers, they get a 50% chance to find out that we're in that nation or that region of the map, and that's pretty tough to do. So that's pretty good. He also has mountain survival, reduced movement penalty when moving through highlands, and is less likely to starve when the army runs out of supplies. Okay. We can also move through mountain passes when it's not too cold, so not in winter, I guess. He's also forest survival, less penalty moving through, and doesn't starve. Okay, so he's about just scouting around. We're not going to probably use him as a commander of units, but what does he have? He has a dagger. It's 0 length, so it's very short. It has 11 attack value, and when we do hit, it hits with a piercing, stabbing kind of motion. Makes sense, right? The dagger. And does 12 damage. Maybe. Depending on the opponent's values. He also has a short bow, range 35 squares on the map. The game, by the way, has a combat, but you zoom in, you can see the units. You don't control them directly in the combat, but you can see what they're doing based on your orders. Attack is 10 precision attack, and that has to do with ranged weapons. And then also piercing, arrow would be piercing, 9 damage. He is wearing a leather cap, protection 7, and leather cuirass, protection 5. And up here we have all his numbers. 10 tends to be average, so you can see he's not very well protected. Has to do when you get hit, you take damage, protection will stop that. His attack skill is 10, that's pretty average. And we can just right click on anything to see what it is. 10 basic attack skill, and then attack number 1 is 11. That would be this one here, I think. And the dagger provides an extra 1 plus 10, giving it 11. So that's the chance of hitting. So when you attack somebody, you roll your die for this. You use this number against the defender's defense skill, and then you roll random 2d6 as well. Add that up and see if you have a higher number, you hit. And then after that, you see if you actually do damage. You take the strength. And by the way, I'm pretty new, but I think I've got it right here. So it's, So physical might. The strength is added to the weapon damage when total damage is calculated. So I look at my dagger. It does damage 12 plus the strength 10. No, damage 2, sorry. Plus 10 gives us 12 in damage. Then that is compared to protection. Whatever is left over will do damage, and that reduces the opponent's hit points. So Yeah, so he's pretty good, but obviously not in a battle. We're not going to use him so much. He's going to scout around. He can carry magical, well, armor, rings, and also gems for magic, but maybe he won't. He's just a scout. That's the scout, our first guy. We also have an assassin. Assassins are trained to pass unseen through enemy territory and to reach enemy commanders and kill them. They can be used as scouts, but are quite expensive. You can see here, 65. The other guy was 70, so it's almost as good. But then he has Assassin 1. The value indicates a possible patience bonus. Okay. We'll see if we're going to use that. Maybe. And it works the same. Ambidextrous, okay. So, normally when you have two weapons, you get a penalty for your attack. But this guy gets less of a penalty. Okay, and the penalty depends on how long the weapons are. So very short weapons are easier to use two of. And he's a little bit better, right? What does he have here? Ah, Poison Dagger. Damage 2 plus his strength, attack 1 plus the attack value, and then extra damage, strong poison. Poison damage 15, and it's considered magic damage 15. On armor negating, strength of wield are not added. We could keep him in the battle. We could do that. Okay. So let's go over to what else we have. A troubadour. And I think I'm going to use this guy. I'll tell you why. So he is also a spy, stealthy. He's also a scout, I should say. He has a couple other skills that are interesting. Look at this one here. Seduction. This unit can seduce enemy commanders and then sneak them away to a friendly province. I haven't actually done this, but I'm guessing we'll go in and get a commander and he will join our side, or she. The seduction is stealthy action that can only be used against members of the opposite sex. So we got to have the right enemy commander, right? It must take place in a province bordering to a friendly territory unless the seducer is able to fly away with the victim. Okay, well, probably can't fly unless we get some special ring or something that can do that. But let's keep that in mind. Maybe we won't keep him so much on the battlefield. Protection is kind of low. Remember, 10 is average. Attack is average here. Yeah. But he's also a spy. Remember, there's a scout, but a spy is a little bit different. He will get additional info when hiding in enemy lands. Also instill uprisings. And I've noticed this the additional info, that's pretty important. Has to do with the Thrones of Ascension, which we'll talk about later. But keep that in mind. The troubadour can find out what they are when he gets to a region. And then finally he's a spell singer. They take longer time to cast spells, but also much less fatiguing. So in this game, they model how tired you get from doing different things in combat. And you can see here, fatigue 0. Once it gets to 100, I think it's 100, they get very tired. They can't perform as well. But we'll see here, is there more information? Yeah, melee combat physically demanding. It becomes easier to hit in the battle as he has more fatigue. If it exceeds 100, he falls dazed or unconscious to the ground. So if it goes on for a long time and you have really heavy stuff you're doing, heavy armor, you're going to not last as long, right? Okay, you recover 1 point of fatigue each combat round, or 5 points if the unit is unconscious. Not very much. And again, he's maybe not the best to attack with, 10 here. So those are the 3 that are not basically magic-related users or commanders that we have. Now let's look at the ones we have. Here's a priest. Well, a friar is the lowest level of friar. So we have mages and we have priests. This is a priest. And you can have a combination unit if you like. So this game is all about getting our god. This game is called Dominions. Well, our Dominion as our god. We're going to bring him to the world and we're going to take over. And to do that, we have the ability to take our priests and they can pray and they can spread our dominion. And they get different ability depending on what our god has. So they can kind of channel some of that stuff. What's called a bless effect. So he's a level 1, so he can do blessing. We'll see later on what that means, level 1. He's also sacred, which means if we cast bless, he can take advantage of bless. Only sacred units can get bless effects. And he's also a little bit of a scout, 40% or 40. We can send him out in the world. Not very good at fighting. Yeah, so that's pretty good. So we're going to keep him in mind, which, by the way, he's a leader. And, what does he, the leader, it doesn't say here how much recruitment points. No, it doesn't say how much the commander points they cost to recruit, but we'll get to that. He cost 1 to recruit. I happen to know that. And then moving on, we have a paladin. That's a pretty good guy. Let's look at him here. So he is on horseback, and as such, he is larger, size 3, horse and commander. You look at a human here, 2, and that makes a difference in the game, in combat. If you click on that, each square, so basically, the smaller you are, the more of them you can fit into one square. And then there's some effects in combat, and I can't remember at the moment what the effect is if you have a large or a small. But anyway, being on horseback, he has some advantages here. First of all, he is a priest, so that's great. He is sacred, he can be blessed, and he's a combat caster. So if he does have, the more spells he has, well, not the more, but whenever he casts spells, he's going to do that faster. Right? No. A combat caster has 50% chance of trying to cast a spell in melee, and the chance of being interrupted by damage is halved. So, only half the chance of being interrupted. So it's pretty good. He's also very good at fighting. So, this is a bonus, right? Level 1. Look at his protection. So if he gets hit, the risk of him taking damage, quite low. 18. His attack skill is 13. Remember, 10 is average. That's pretty good. So he has some good weapons here, down here. You can see base skill is 13, but it moves up here, 14 for these two, for instance. And then the horse itself is 13. And his strength is 13, average 10, great. That's going to be added to the damage that we have here, 19, much higher than the other guys. Again, piercing here, slash damage here. And they do different things. We'll talk about that when we get into a battle. If I can remember, I can look it up. The manual is great in the book, for the game. There are different effects. Basically, you get like a 20% boost for one of them. There's different things that you want to keep in mind. And then finally here, hoof is a blunt damage. Makes sense. You get kicked by the horse. He's carrying a lot of armor. Full helmet, full chainmail, and a kite shield. That's great, but unfortunately it reduces your defense. Wait a minute. How can it reduce your defense? Well, the defense, it basically is bulky. So what happens here is that this number, if you could take a look here, he has defense. This number here, defense -1, means that when he's being attacked, his defense skill will be reduced by these numbers here. We'll look here, for instance. Basic defense skill of 12. He's mounted +3. Weapon defense modifier +1. So if you look at the weapon, lance, he got, let's see, broadsword. Here, defense 1. So that's helping him defend. But armor plus shield defense modifier is -6 here. But instead, his shield will help him parry. This kite shield right here. So the parry skill will be used for that. The armor will help him with protection. So while the helmet won't help him defend, in that he is easier to hit. Once they hit him, it's going to be much harder to do damage to him because it's so much armor there, right? Protection 21, 18, 19. So that's quite good. But they're very heavy. Encumbrance 3 and 2. And that's going to give him some fatigue, I believe, later on. So that's not the best. Okay, so that's him here. He has also a very high number in leadership, which means he can take care. He can have a lot of units under his control, which we're going to later on. Depending on how we play this nation, we might have a lot of units under our control. So anyway, that's our paladin. And then from here on we have, we do have an architect here too. Let's take a look at some of the mages though. Here's the initiate. He is a level 1 fire mage. So we have these schools of magic. Fire, let me see if I can explain it. We have a combination of types of mage skills in combination with schools of magic. So this will say he is a fire mage, and then depending on which school, you can use your fire mage ability. So we have the conjuration, evocation, alteration, so forth. And they all have, so between the two of them, there's a lot of different combination of spells. He is a level 1, not the greatest, but he can be improved later on. 7 in research ability, not either, that's not the greatest. So if we want to research a higher level in our School of Magic, not to make this number go up, but the School of Magic go up, we're going to use this here. He's going to spend a turn and improve that. As you can see, he's not very good at fighting, and yeah, not a very good leader. He's basically used, he can still use me in battle because he would be able to cast spells in the battle. That's an initiate. Then we have an Inquisitor. He was mentioned up here actually. An Inquisitor has a lot more options. Also just a level 1 Fire Mage, but he is a level 2 Priest. And remember I mentioned something about Bless? Well, Bless is that ability where you define your god, and the god's ability, the priest can cast a blessing that will let our sacred units get that function, that ability from the god. So he's level 2, so he can actually do a divine bless, I happen to know, which means every unit on the battlefield under your command will get the effect, not just the ones next to him. That's good. And then he is a has 7 in research, not the greatest. He is sacred, so he will also himself be blessed. He is an Inquisitor, very efficient in preaching against other faiths. And what that means is that when you take over a territory, naturally your dominion, your god's power is spreading throughout the land. When he reduces an enemy's dominion, an enemy's god's power, he is twice as effective, right? That's what we said, right? Yeah, preaching against other faiths. And then, unfortunately, he's old. When you're old, he gets a lot of negative modifiers here. He's 49. And he can die. So, you take a bit of a chance with him. But still, good here. Okay, that's him. And then moving on to Witch Hunter. So the Witch Hunter is, and now we get into more of the mages here. He's a combination mage priest actually. Level 2 Fire Mage, level 1 Astral Mage. So different type of mage there. Opening up a different set of spells. Level 1 Priest. And he has also higher research ability, and he's sacred as well. And patrol bonus 10. Very efficient at patrolling provinces. Okay, so to defend against, I guess, Scout. Remember the Scout? You need to have so many units. So we can maybe use him for that. Okay, next up is our Architect. That's a special unit we have as Marignon. I haven't used him before, but if you look here, Siege bonus 15 reduces the defense of besieged castles. That's great. And then Castle defense bonus, the opposite, basically. Defending against sieges are also good here. And then he's a Mason. As a Mason, he can construct more advanced forts. And the way forts work is they basically improve your region. So you get more. more, I like to say income? No, resources. Or is it recruitment points? Well, let's take a look when we get into the game. Let's look at the fort we have in our home region. That's that will tell us what bonus we get. But anyway, he can build bigger forts than you normally can. You don't want to keep him in a battle though, right? And then we have, now we get to the two best ones. The High Inquisitor. The High Inquisitor, yeah. Look at his leadership. He can have a lot of units there. A dagger for weapon. Well, that's not his forte. He's level 1 Fire Mage, level 3 Priest. So they have access to much better priest spells. Also 7 research, and he's sacred, and he is good at banishing enemy dominion from a region, but quite expensive. Up here you have how much they cost. There are 3 different types of resources in the game. Yeah, there's more than 3, but 3 basic type. Yeah, basic types. Gold, resources, and recruitment points. And he costs quite a bit there, as you can see. He's also old. 66. Quite old. 48 considered old, and he's 66. He could die. And then finally, we have a Grandmaster. We can only recruit this one in a capital. He is good. I want to get one of these, but look how expensive. 370. Not very much resources or recruitment points, because it's only 1, but still. He also takes a lot of command points to get. You only get so many command points in a region, and I think that is also based on a fort. Yes, I think it is. He is, out of the gate, a level 3 Fire Mage, level 2 Astral Mage, level 2 Priest, and look at this, question mark. He is one out of these random ones, Fire, Air, Earth, Astral. So he could be one more Astral. It could be 3, or it could be something else. And then there's a 10% chance for one more level on those as well. We can get some really good here. 17 in research would be great to use him for research. He's also sacred, and he's fire resistant, but very, very old. Could die. Those are the leaders. Now let's move down to the units. Don't have that many actually. Let's work from the left to the right. Remember, we want to have units that are sacred. They can be blessed. Okay, here's one. Flagellant. He's very special. If you look here, protection 0. Once they get through his defense skill, which is low, he is going to have nothing there. They're going to kill him right away. High damage value, though, on his blunt weapon here. And he can be sacred, can be blessed. So why would we get him? Well, he's very cheap. Gold 10, resources 4, and recruitment 5. And also, if you use your blessed points wisely, I figure you can probably make them quite a bit better. We'll take a look at that when we define our own god and see what we can get. That is a flagellant, so he's special. These here next, all the way to the end, except the last one, are not going to be sacred. It's not going to have any benefit from the bless. Something to keep in mind. Crossbowmen, so he has a range. It's a ranged weapon, and they work a little bit differently. Range 40 squares, and they use the precision. Precision is average 10. For every point over, it counts double, so it's really good to have a number higher than 10. They're very average. Pretty good distance, though. 40 squares. He also has a mace to fight with, you know, hand-to-hand combat. Ring mail, leather cap. Okay, so he has protection 7. Not great. Human-sized. He's okay, but he has ranged, and range would be good to have. Precision is not using the attack or the strength or anything like that. It's using, I mean, the ranged weapon is only using precision, not strength or attack. So if it hits, it's going to do damage, irrespective of that guy's strength. And that would be the crossbowmen. And then we'll go to swordsmen. We had some good units here, but I am thinking, and I'm, again, new to the game, but it looks to me, compared to gold, it costs a lot of resources. So if you don't have a lot of resources in your region, you can't build up many anyway. He has a greatsword though, two-handed. You get a boost, I think, to the damage you do with a greatsword. Not to the attack skill, but to the damage. So we can look at the damage here. A two-handed weapon, 9 normally. Defense 2, so it helps out quite a bit. Two-handed weapon says here, adds an extra 25% of the unit's strength with adding strength to the damage value. Okay, so it takes this value, 2.5. So 12.5 plus the damage here, 9. Okay, so 21. That's pretty good. Defense is actually a little bit higher than normal. Protection is also good. So maybe this would be a good one. Well, that's a swordsman. Moving on to halberdier. Okay, so now we're getting into the ones that have weapon length that are greater than 1. So remember I mentioned the dagger was 1. Well, the longer your weapon you have, the greater the chance you have of repelling an opponent's attack. So when they attack, if your weapon is longer, this number here is greater than their number, then you get a chance to repel, and you take your attack skill, even though you're defending, compared to their defense, and you roll random die as well. And if that number is higher, the attack is they don't make it, unless they make a morale check. I believe, you know, they have to actually force their way through your weapon. So that's pretty good. So 3 is decent. It does slash and pierce damage. 22 in damage is good. Two-handed weapon. Has some armor here. What else? Average numbers here. Protection 14 is good. Also a good one. Castle defense bonus. Very effective defending castles. Good, good. Okay, that's him. Then we have the pikeneer. Remember we had length 3? This is length 5. So it is even longer. It's a really long one. Protection 14, then average, but defense skill is lower. It's only 8. And he has no special thing here. But length 5 is great. So they rush up with swords. There you are with the length 5. you get a shot at using your attack skill against their defense skill, and they may not even attack you. So that might be a good one. Yeah. Okay, so if you compare those two, 10 gold for the halberdier, 22 resources and 9 recruitment points, and then here 10, 29. So a little bit less defense skill, but a little bit cheaper here. 14. Okay, well, let's move on to the next guy. This guy is good, man at arms. So he has a broadsword, length 1, so very short weapon, carrying a shield. 16 protection is good, right? That's that defensive value to reduce an enemy's attack so you don't take damage. So defense skill is 13, so very hard to do damage on him. He's not super great in attack skill or strength, but very difficult to do damage to. So he can last a long time on the battlefield. And it looks like he has something else here. Bodyguard. This unit's extremely loyal, but protect his commander to the death. The value of this ability is added to morale when guarding your commander. So maybe we could use them for, you know, guards for our commanders. Get a couple of those. 14 gold, 22 and 18. A lot of recruitment points, right? Okay. And then finally we have 2 mounted units. Royal Guard and Knight of the Chalice. And the difference, one of the differences is that Knight of the Chalice is sacred. Can't take advantage of the blessed effect. Here's the first one. Bodyguard. 3. The value of this ability is added to morale when guarding a commander. So that might be a good one to keep as a guard as well. 21 in protection. 16 defense skill. That is very good. And combat speed, which is how fast you move on the map, 22. Remember morale? Well, it's 14 here. Some of the other units have much lower morale, and they can more easily be routed. This guy's good, but look at that. 40 gold, 59 resources, 46 recruitment points. Not too old, though. And he does decent damage there. A lot of armor here. If you look at the defense skill, 12, mounted 3, weapon defense modifiers 1, armor and shield -6, but the shield is offsetting that. Current defense and parry skill 16. That is good. That is very good. So that's him, 40, 59, 46. Now let's look at the Knight of the Chalice. The other one was 40, 59, 56. So about the same. He is sacred though. So any bonus we kind of set up with our god, he's going to get it. Protection 18, good at not taking damage. Fairly strong, good attack skill, good defense skill, fast, not as fast as the other one, but still good, good morale, really nice, and they can get that bless effect. But expensive. See how that goes. Also using a lance. Remember that? So you can be repelled. Okay, so that takes care of our units. Down below we have 2 special buildings, so let's look at that. The House of Fiery Justice. Enables recruitment of High Inquisitor and Grandmaster. Okay, we looked at them. Kills demons and undeads 50. So I haven't run into this, but that's good. If we have that in a region, I think automatically we'll do that. We also get 4 fire gems per turn and 1 astral pearl. Why do we need that? Well, they're used for a couple of things. When you cast a spell, sometimes you need to have gems to use. And when you want to raise somebody up as a fire mage from 1 to 2, for instance, you got to use fire gems. So this is good. And then finally, the Royal Academy. We can get an architect. And that's it. Let's move on. We're going to have Marignon. And now we get to setting up our god. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. There are other videos out there on that. But we have a couple of design points here. Right now, we're saying our god is going to be awake. We can let him sleep too and just join the game after a year. Or let him join the game in 3 years' time. I think that's too much, but I might go for dormant. First of all, let's pick our physical form. There are different types. I'm going to pick a very inexpensive one, only 90 points. Not that great. He has level 1 in fire. But that leaves us more points to improve our nation, I think, and organize a little bit here. Remember what we had in Marignon? We get a boost to our bless for fire and astral, I believe it was. There's fire, there's astral. To get another path costs 10. We're going to do that right away. You need at least for level 4, I believe, to get bless points. Yeah, and we get 6. Normally we get 4. And what if we bring him up here too? Level 6 and level 6 here. So he will be level 4 when he comes out in a year's time. No, dormant. In a year's time, when he awakes, our god, this guy here, when he comes up, we can use him on the map as a regular unit. He will then be a level 4 Fire Mage, level 4 Astral Mage. And because we picked those two that are a specialty for Marignon, we get 6 Bless Point. And Bless Point relates to priests, what they can do. And here's what we can do. If it says Incarnate, that means it's only something we can use when our god is awake. If he's not awake yet, or if he is has been sent back to the heavens, then we cannot use it. And by the way, if they die, we can bring them back. So if I pick something here, then we can't use it right away. We gotta wait for him to come up. But I'm looking here. Look at this. Astral and fire combination. Solar weapons. Attack from blessed units will imbue with an additional solar strike damage effect. 3 AP damage. I think that's just 3 extra damage for free. That deals triple damage against undead and demons. Are we going to have undead and demons? We don't know. I said random unit, the opponent. It will affect all weapons except natural range attacks. So it will affect our range if we have the crossbow. Remember that. I think I'm going to pick that. So remember we had 6, 6. Now we have 5 and 3. So let's see what else we can pick. Add another bless effect. Let's go up here. Look at this one. Attack skill +2. This is a good one. So if you have 10 normally, you get 12 now. So that will help hit enemy units and repel attacks. I'm going to go for one of those. So now we have 2 left here and 3 left there. Well, you can see what we have left here. Magic weapons. Attack from blessed units will count as magical. They will be able to hit and damage ethereal and vulnerable units without any penalties. I think I want that because there's quite a few different things you can do with our opponent can do to us, potentially. That means they have magic attacks, and if you can't defend against that, it'd be bad. Or they can if they have something that stops normal attacks, then this would still do it. So let's pick that. That takes 2. Now we have 2 and 1 left. We're going to keep going here. Superior morale. So morale is important. If that goes down too much, you lose, you will run away. Minor fire resistance. I don't think I need that. That depends. If we run into somebody who has fire. Well, let's do... No, that's 2 points. How about this? We'll pick 1 superior morale, and then 1 more. +2. Extra morale. And then finally we have 1 more astral. Let's pick that as well. Arcane command. All sacred commanders will be able to lead up to 10 magic beings. Or minor magic resistance. Blessed units will be less vulnerable to magic can be resisted. You know what? I might take this one. Okay, we used up all our bless. So whenever we cast bless, a priest, the units that are sacred will get this. If we have divine blessing, everybody on our side in battle will get that. Now we have 355 points left. That's quite a bit. What do we do with those? Well, our dominion. Wherever our dominion spreads, after a while, we get these effects. And the stronger our dominion is, the better it is. And this is our dominion strength, if you like. That impacts a few things, so we want this number to be high. It really makes our leader, our god, and our prophet, we'll get to that, more stronger in their own territory, for instance. And if you don't have any dominion left, you lose the game. So we're gonna pick. We'll wait and see how high up we can get. That also impacts how many holy points we get to recruit units. So, for instance, our knight. Remember the knights of the chalice? They take 1 holy point each. So if I only have 1 dominion, I can only recruit 1 per territory per turn. Don't like that, but let's look and see what else we have. These are like positive and negative numbers, so I can go either positive or negative, and they do different things. Here's construction, no, productivity, sloth. If I go up, 3% more income, 15% more resources. I want this number to be high. Remember, my guys cost a lot of resources, so that would be good. But now we only have 235 left. Here is order and turmoil. If I go up, what do we get? Income 11, unrest reduction +1, recruitment 10, resource 47. It's a little bit of a boost, maybe not. Heat, cold, we can go up here, and you can see here our numbers go down if we do that. In this case, so probably won't do that. Growth, death. If we go up there, income goes up a little bit, supplies goes up, and growth, population goes up a little bit. And here's luck. Fortune, misfortune. I think that is an interesting one to have. But what I want to do first is this one. Magic and drain. If I go and pick this one, let's go 3 levels up. 3 RP extra. Remember our guys who had the magic users? They had 7 and 11 in the research ability. This, they give them 3 more for free, everybody. That is quite a bit. If I have a lot of them, it's going to make a big difference. Let's say we'll go with that. Now we have 115 left. If I go up here, I want at least 5. I think that is an average number. I have 45 left. Can I go for 1 luck? I can. Then luck would be plus 10%. And I have 5 dominion. It's not great. I can get 5 per turn. Or do I want to just bring it down here and say instead of 5, I go 6, and that's all I can do. Should I do 1 more? No, I think I'll go 5. So, yeah. Because I'm thinking like this. Remember the Knight of the Chalice? They're very expensive. I'm not going to be able to recruit that many of them every turn anyway. So if 5 is limiting me, it's not limiting me that much. The Dominion is not super strong, but still okay. So that's it. Let's take this and say, okay. Ariod is our god's name. That's good. That works. All praise Ariod. Yeah, please. And here are options in the game, and we're not going to really do anything here. We're going to keep Thrones of Ascensions the same. We could modify that, but for this first game, I'm not going to do it. And here is the game being generated, and let's see what happens. And here we are. The game has been created. It took quite a while. I paused it. Ariod, God of Marignon. This is the spring in the year 0 of the Ascension Wars. And we do have a bit of a flavor text. In the beginning, there was chaos. You can stop here and read. And then now the wheel has turned once again. And now it's up to us. We're going to fight it out, in this case with one other opponent, and see who is the one true god. And here we go. We have the map. Alright, so we said less water, remember that? And we do have less water. It's only a couple provinces here. And I'll explain what we're looking at here if you don't know. But we are down here. But we will do more of that next time, guys. Join me then with more from Dominions 5. Bye.